Trevor, good evening, and thanks for your time. It isn't a massive increase, but the increase is enough to make it the highest that we've had in 11 years. How worried should we be? Because we're not seeing any movement downwards in bringing these figures down, despite all the talk from government.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. You know, there's a saying that empty vessels make the loudest noise. So we hear the government leaders, the politicians, they have a lot to say, from the president, the minister of finance, etc. But on the ground, the people are suffering. On the ground, the people are sitting at home without hope, without any means of making a livelihood.
So we're looking at these figures in particular, Trevor, and what we're seeing is that we have black African women and young South Africans who are the most vulnerable of these, who are unemployed. Where are we failing? Or how are we failing them?
Well, clearly, the dominant economic model, let's say the economic strategy, grand strategy, is not working for the poor, is not working for the working class, is not working for the most vulnerable. So I think that what we need is a kind of fundamental change, a revisiting of where the country's economic model is going to. And I think that is what our leaders are failing to grasp or do not want to do.
Now, you know, when we've spoken about the economy over the past couple of months, when we have spoken about unemployment recently as well, what came up was the informal job sector and what we could be doing there to maximize. And why aren't we jumping in there? Why aren't we getting in there to see what people are doing outside of corporate, outside of formal business?
Well, unfortunately, the big business controls a lot of what goes on, both for small business and certainly for the informal sector. Half the time, big business muscles out, crowds out the small guys. It also exploits them because it controls, you know, the supplies, the basic materials. So I think instead of looking at small business, informal sector, we should rather look at where the money is. And I think the money is with big business. We should look at their practices. We know that big business is sitting on billions of rand, not investing. There's a lot of money leaving the country through tax evasion, through capital flight, which actually the government should stop and try and redirect to develop our economy.
So why haven't they tapped into these ideas that you've mentioned now? Why haven't they gone to big business and say, we know where this money is sitting, we know what you're sitting on, let's see how we can work together to release that and create what we need to create?
Well, they need to be reminded of the vision we had when we, you know, overcame apartheid, the vision of a society where everyone would have a place. I must say it was a mistake to put in a billionaire to lead our country, because I think that what we are seeing in Parliament is a perspective from the rich, from the elite, and less sympathy with the poor.
Are you saying he's out of touch with the poor in the country?
Well, he must be out of touch if, you know, recently he had a job summit about a year ago. Now we hear that the next summit will be an investment summit. In other words, only investors will be invited. So he will now exclude those who stand to benefit from job creation. So you can see that it is elitist perspectives which are dominating our economy, our leadership.
So you firmly believe there's no interest at the top? There's no impetus?
There's no impetus. Of course, you know, governments, no matter how elitist or bourgeois, they have to win elections. You know, this is a democratic state. So they must, whatever they do, pay attention or pay lip service, you know, to the poor. But overall, we see the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. We see continuation of policies which favor the rich. We see continuation of policies which leave our youth sitting at home demoralized, without any future prospects.
So do you see a situation where South Africans, ordinary South Africans like us, need to start helping each other, finding opportunities for one another?
Exactly.
And are we well equipped to do that?
Exactly. I think we should start looking at each other. We should start having movements, joining hands, finding ways of helping those who are poor. More importantly, finding ways of uniting and putting pressure on the state to change its policies so that we have a government which serves us and not the rich. I think this is happening everywhere in the world. If you, Chile, a few days ago, had a march of 1 million people in Russia, in the Netherlands, Algeria, Egypt. The people are just saying these governments are not serving us. And I think that that spirit of rebellion, of fighting back, of unity in struggle, we still need in South Africa.
I think that South Africans are loud, but when the time comes to get out there and get in your numbers, there's no action. We're very low on action, but loud on words, aren't we, in the volume? Thank you very much. That's Pravin Gordhan from the University of Johannesburg.